Hello and welcome back everyone to another live Q&A session here on the Freelanceverse YouTube channel. I hope you could all hear me well. I had to move it ahead 15 minutes because I realized I have to leave at 6:15 Central European time. But that's okay. Most of the people watching this is anyways in the VOD later on rather than live. But if you are catching a live session, thank you very much. So lovely to be here. I see already someone joined. Always nice if you could let me know in the chat where you are watching from. If you have live questions that you would like me to answer, feel free to ask them in the chat right away, and I will try to do my best to answer them as much as I can. If not, I have questions prepared as always, so this will then in the end anyways become this week's video. So I have questions and we'll just go ahead and answering them as long as no live ones come in the chat. Already 3 people are here. Hello, thank you very much for being here. If you haven't heard, let me know where you're watching from and whether the audio is good, whether you can hear me well. I will start off with the first question. It comes from AK Senare. I've graduated 6 months ago with a BA in Asian languages and cultures and started to get in the audiovisual translation field since then. Honestly, I'm constantly overthinking whether I should stick to what is my dream job or just surrender and find something else, which is still a big question mark since I wish for it to be language related. I wish there was more hope about it, but it seemed to not be actually able to I seem to be not be actually able to find any, especially with the tons of translation agencies ignoring my applications. So not really a direct question there, but just a comment under the last Q&A, so I wanted to address it. And I find that a very interesting point you made. You have a very specific bachelor, right? Asian languages and cultures. You already got into the audiovisual translation, which is huge in this field. I mean, I don't know which Asian languages you work with, but a lot of audiovisual content is in these languages being produced. And it is your dream job. So I would say with these conditions to stick to it, right? Because you are already ahead of so much of your competition that simply does translation as a last resort because they think it's easy money. So you have the passion for it, you have the drive for it, then I would definitely go for it. And translation agencies ignoring my applications, that is common practice. That's not a thing that is only in language related jobs, right? That is the grind that comes with freelancing. You have to do that in any field that you will try to make a living, right? In the beginning, it's really tough, and it also never really gets easier. Like even if I would now apply to agencies, I would most likely not hear from any, or at least if I send maybe 50 to 100 applications, I might hear back from a few. So this approach doesn't really change once you have experience, right? That's just these agencies get so many applications. It's just the way of life. But there are other ways to gain experience, right? I have other questions today prepared that will go more in depth about that. You don't necessarily need to start out with translation agencies. You can start out with building your portfolio on your own. You don't necessarily need to work for paid gigs to build a portfolio, and then you might be able to skip the translation agency altogether and actually work with the publishers that work on the audiovisually set, not literally, right? You can work with the production houses that actually make these films or series that you want to work with. Of course, that's a very long way, but you seem to know exactly where you want to be in 5 years, so I would not give up on it if I were you. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone who is here. It's lovely that people are tuning in, even though it's not the usual time. Maybe at 6 p.m. some more people will come in. But for now, I would like to continue. From JillyDog47, love the name. I'd like to know more about your involvement with the Winter Olympics, if you're willing to share. I love the Olympics and have always had a pipe dream of getting involved with them as a language professional. Sports is not one of my specialization currently, but I am a huge figure skating fan and would love to put my knowledge to good use somehow. My languages are English native, German, and Russian. Can you share a little bit about how you got involved with the Olympics and how others can get their foot into the door? Very good question. This is related to a video. I think in the last Q&A, I spoke about the Olympics that I'm involved in. Oh yeah, exactly. It was in February when there was the Winter Olympics, and I was heavily involved in it. Honestly, how it first started was, I think, in 2022 when there was the Youth Olympics in Lausanne. So it was in Switzerland, and I had worked previously with a very specialized agency that works in the sports sector from Geneva, and I mostly worked on motorsports and winter sports for them. And then they were one of the main providers for the Youth Olympics. They did the whole language communication, and that's how I naturally got involved. And then from that, I had an Olympics experience. So of course, I used that experience to further, my way into that sector. And I made a few connections there. I actually was there in person, so I could actually make some connections with the comms people there. And through that, in the next in the next adult senior Youth Olympics, no, in what am I saying? In the actual Olympics, the real one, I was able to be in the German team, and since then has been another one, and I was also in the team. So this all worked through connections, but I was already specialized in sports before the Youth Olympics, so this has to be probably a prerequisite. I don't know how I mean, if you say you have a very big expert knowledge in figure skating, that might be useful, but most likely, or mostly, you're not specifically working for one sports, right? That would be extremely niche if the Olympics needed someone specifically for figure skating. Usually you're working on all the sports. How someone can get their foot in the door, you probably have to specialize in sports. You have to work with niche agencies that work in this specialization, because no single person can serve the Olympics language needs, right? They have to work with languages. They have to work with agencies, with supply chain programs that do the communications for them. So you have to somehow find the foot in the door through these. So it's not actually working directly with the people at the Olympics, but with the provider that does the communication or the marketing for them. And it's not easy to figure out who that is, but once you have your foot in the door, it's easy to stay in it and to further your development and to your involvement, because it's always the same people that are responsible for it. I always think I have the mouse plugged in, but I don't, so I need to use my trackpad. Next question. How to get translations without any official degree or certification, please? That links kind of to the first question. This one is from Malik Fazal 4915. Thank you very much for the question. That's what I mean. So if you want to become a translator and you actually take it seriously and not just do it as a side gig, because that will not work. But if you have the drive, if you have the motivation and the determination to specialize and to put years of your life into this craft, and probably, maybe 1-2 years, no profit, you have to also realize that, right? If you actually want to make this a career rather than a side gig, you're not looking for short-term profit. You're looking for long-term, building a business, building a system that creates passive income as well, right? Because there's only so much time you have to actually translate. So that's why I would start building a foundation. So I would first of all build a portfolio, whether you do it for free or paid, that is up to you, but you need to have something to show for yourself. You need to have experience, and you can't usually find jobs without experience. That's the paradox, right? Permission paradox, I think it's called. But you can build a portfolio without being paid. As I said, you can take articles, you can translate them, you can translate YouTube videos, you can translate song lyrics, you can translate whole series, and then you can always send your translations to the publishers or to the creators and tell them, look, I did this officially. If you want, you can use it. You don't have to, but if you do, please credit me. Is it okay if I use this as an experience? Most likely you don't hear back, but from some YouTube creators, you might hear back, and they might use your subtitles to put on their video, because for them, it's a win-win, right? They have free outreach for a larger audience, and you gain experience. I used to do that as well on the channel. It just became so such a mess and so big that we had to stop it for a while. But yeah, it's a great way to get in touch with people and to build your portfolio. And then, working with agencies, with specialized agencies might be difficult without a degree, because often they are certified, they're ISO certified, and then they need you to have a degree or 5 years of experience. So with these, it will just be legally impossible to work with. So the best way is to go about is to specialize as early as possible and be the expert in something very niche. The best way is if you already have experience in another field and then transition to language services for this field, right? Because then you're already the leader and the number one person for people to contact, and you already have a network. So if you had a previous job, if you worked in a different sector, and then you transition to translation without a degree or certification, that's 100% easier, right? Maybe not 100%, but that's definitely 50% easier to start off, because you're already in touch with the people that need translations. As I said, if you're watching and you have a live question, let me know in the chat and I can answer it directly. If not, I have 3 more questions. So I have about 15 more minutes. So that's perfect timing. And also let me know in the chat if you have any other things that you want to get rid of, want to get off your chest, if you have been working on a specific job, or if you're looking to get into the industry. Very curious what you guys' status is at the moment. Brenda Hammer asks, "Hi Adrian, I'm 61 and I'm currently studying to become accredited as a Japanese English translator." That's brilliant. My lecturer at Western Sydney University shared a link to your earlier video on will AI replace translators. That's crazy. It's been showed in Western Sydney University, wow. Which was highly reassuring for me to not give up my passion. It sounds like your work is intense, so why not cut down on making your videos to fortnightly instead of weekly? I'm sure all of your followers will look forward to viewing your new videos just as much as at least you'll be able to enjoy making quality ones from not being under so much pressure. Thank you very much, Brenda. I really appreciate it. And that is true. That would probably make sense to most people, but I have to tell you that I know how my brain works. If I do that, if I start skipping weeks intentionally, this will be the end of the channel, right? So I need this kind of pressure, this weekly pressure. At the moment, it's unsustainable, and I know that, and I'm trying to work on it. But if I start saying, oh, I'm going to do it fortnightly or monthly, it will just fizzle out, and that will be it. And I don't want that to happen. But I do have, my summer breaks and my winter breaks. Summer break is coming up soon. So it's fine, there will be times when I have more time, times when I have less time. Now it's just, I need to get ahead. That's the thing. Usually I'm 2-3 weeks ahead, and at the moment I'm not. So this Q&A live is actually coming in handy because I can work already on next week's video instead. But it's very, very nice of you. Thank you. But just as a rule, if you have the same, I don't know, mindset, or just maybe it's a problem, I don't know, as me, but I'm very good in keeping streaks. I'm very good in doing things consistently as long as I'm doing them. If I stop doing them, it's over. Like, I'm very bad in coming back, picking things back up. It somehow triggers something in me if I stop doing something and then I just discard it. So I will not be able to do fortnightly, but I will try my best to put more quality content out again. Thank you very much. We are 7 people in here. Thank you very much for watching. And we just got a question. LVI81705. Hi Adrian, I'm trying to get started as an audiovisual translator and make a portfolio. I'm wondering how do I put, I guess, subtitle content in my portfolio? Do I just link to a video? Yeah, exactly. I would say, there are certain things you can do. Usually a subtitle video will be in an SRT file. This is the normal subtitle file format that you would use. if you send it or if you use it for people that know the industry, that know the business, then you don't even need to link to a video. It would just be the SRT file there, and people can look at it themselves, because it's kind of self-explanatory. But if you want to show it off to someone that is not fully versed in the industry, just rather just a business person that needs localization, then it makes sense to actually burn in the subtitles into the video and then export the whole video. But then, of course, you have to be careful with copyright, right? You're not allowed to use a full series, for example, to market yourself, to sell your own services. So then you would need to actually talk to the publishers. If you use it as a portfolio for just without using the content, then you just have the SRT file, and you can link to the video, to the original on YouTube or wherever it is, and tell them they can go check the video, and these are my subtitles in the SRT file. So you have to be a bit careful not to never download something that is not yours and then use it for market to yourself, because then that's for commercial use, and you're not allowed to do that, right? Unless it's public. Some videos are public. What is it called? Public domain, I think. For example, a lot of my videos are actually under the Creative Commons license of YouTube. I intentionally do that. So if someone wants to download them, wants to work on them for their portfolio, they're perfectly fine to do that. That then leads to the fact that, unfortunately, I mean, it's linked to it. Unfortunately, then people are allowed to just download it and re-upload it without any legal consequences. And that's why there are some channels out there with my face that is not actually me. But it's fine. I do take that drawback into account, but I'd still prefer that people can use this to learn as well. People ask me if they can use my videos for their thesis, for example. So their whole thesis project is subtitling one of my videos and talking about the content as well, which I find a brilliant idea. But for that, they need Creative Commons license. So they need me to allow them to use the content. I don't actually know how you can know whether, I don't know how you can know whether a video is public domain or not. Just assume that most of mine are, but I don't know how you can actually know that from other people. It's a good question. I will look into that. Yeah, mostly you would just have the SRT file in your portfolio. Varengian2494, love your videos. They have been really, really helpful since I want to start working as a translator. I got a degree in translation and interpretation, but no professional experience in translation, only working in a call center. So I have been trying to figure out some things. My main dilemma, I think, is if I should just start building my portfolio and experience in my current language pair, English, Spanish, or if I should improve my French or Chinese and work on those languages. I've been researching, and it seems there is a lot of demand, but a lot of supply too in English and Spanish. Any ideas, advice, thoughts would be welcome. Thank you again. I'm giving myself time, as you said in one of your videos. They are always motivating. Sending you blessings and good vibes. Thank you very much. That's a very kind message. So the answer to your question, either or, it's never either or, it's both, right? You can both focus on English and Spanish, but you can also and should also improve your French and Chinese to a working language. Because if you have English, Spanish, French, and Chinese in your working languages, that is insanely competitive. That's super cool. English, Spanish is true. It's a tough market. Unfortunately, it's been yeah, the rates have been destroyed pretty much. So if you can add another language to it, even just French, Spanish, or is already not in higher demand but better paid. And then if you have Chinese Spanish or something like that, that's a really niche combination that can be very, very lucrative. So I would say, if I were you, I would use English Spanish as a filler, to get started, to find jobs, because there will be jobs. There are so many English Spanish jobs. So I would just focus on that right away to start, get experience, use as a filler, and work on your French, Chinese for the future. These will be your money makers when you have them to working languages. Getting languages up to speed to working languages is super hard. I'm working on languages myself. I said it in the last video. It's very, very tough to actually get them to working languages, but not impossible. I don't know what your level of French and Chinese are. But yeah, if you can get them to where you can actually use it for French to Spanish and Chinese to Spanish translations, that would unlock a whole new market that you can be the top dog very easily, right? In English Spanish, even if you specialize extremely well, it'll be so tough to actually reach the top 20% of translators because there are just so many good ones out there. But in Chinese Spanish, if you specialize, if you're good, you're very quickly in the top 5%. And people, speak word. How do you say it? Word by mouth? I don't know. I don't know what the expression is, but just the word spreads, right? So you get recommended within a small niche. So that's exactly what happens with me. I'm specialized in German for Switzerland in the winter sports area, and people just recommend me just for this very niche locale. And then you don't actually need many word of mouth. Thank you very much. You don't actually need many clients, right? That's the beauty of this job. Once you find the right ones, you don't need to find many. LBI says, thank you so much for the answer. No problem. And Suleiman Güzel helped me out with word of mouth. I don't know what happened in my brain there. I don't even remember what I said. Word to mouth or something crazy. Yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes when I speak about languages, they mix up in my brain, and then because I think it's a direct translation from German what I did there. So sorry about that. Okay, I have a couple more minutes. I have one more question, and if you have one more in the chat, let me know. Shankai5786. Hi, Adrian. I find your videos always very helpful as a student. I was wondering what your thoughts are about a master's degree. I already have a bachelor in translation, and I'm working right now as a working student in localization. Nice. Because of my job, I can't move to university where they offer a master's in translation. So I have to do the second best option, which is a master in media. I really like my localization job and want to focus on that career. Do you think a media master's degree will also be beneficial? How much does a master's degree in translation even matter? Very good question, but I don't understand why you can't. I'm working right now as a working student in localization. Because of my job, I can't move to university where they offer a master's in translation. I don't really know why you can't do that, but nevertheless, this is very much in my opinion, right? Me personally, I would never do or go for or promote a master's in translation. I think it's way more valuable to do a bachelor in translation than a master in something else that you want to specialize in. But I know that the opinions differ very heavily in that. I just feel like if you have a bachelor and a master in translation, you come out of the university after 5 to 6 years, and you have not specialized, you have no experience. So I would definitely, if I were you, I would do that's what I did. That's why I say I would do a bachelor in translation, start working right away next to a master in a field that you want to specialize in. And then you finish 2 years later and you have a specialization because you already have a master's in that area and you already have 2 years of working experience and you already built your portfolio next to the master's, right? That's what I did. That's worked for me. But then I know plenty who have a master's in translation. So you need to figure out it for yourself. But it seems like you're on the right track. You're already a working student in localization with a master's in media. Media is quite broad. I don't know exactly what this entails, what you do there, but it is definitely a good start. I mean, or not a good start, but it's a good approach that you took to study something else than translation and then focus on that and specialize in that. So a translation, how much does a master's degree in translation even matter? If you ask me personally, not that much. It is 9 past. I have 3-4 more minutes. The nine of Gossamer. Don't know if that's your name, but that's what I got from your handle. Hi, Adrian. Do you have any advice for working as a translator for technical fields like the sciences? I'm comfortable with it, English and Italian, both directions, and I'm passionate about those topics. Technical fields like the sciences. That would require, if I wanted to do that, that would require further education in the specific field, right? So I would want to be a translator. I would want to do a degree in, let's say, chemistry, for example, while also have a background in translation or languages. That's exactly what I just said. So if you have a bachelor in localization or media or translation or languages, and then a master's in the sciences, that's probably the best way to break into that industry. Unless you already have a previous experience, you say you're comfortable with it in English in both directions, and passionate about the topic. So you're passionate. I don't know if that means you have experience. That would change a lot, right? Passionate is probably not strong enough to break into these, because they are highly competitive. It's kind of like the legal, the medical area. You need to have a background to actually be able to. I did some work with chemistry, but I've just started out. Okay. So my initial reaction, if you've just started out in chemistry, is you will probably need more experience in it to be competitive, just compared to others that I've seen, that actual medical doctors who then work in medical translation, or people who have worked in life sciences for 10 years and then transition to translation in that field. So depending on your language combination as well. What did you say? It English, Italian. Okay. Yeah, actually, it's not one that is omnipresent in the world. So you definitely, I'm not saying don't try it, right? But I'm saying probably you need to give yourself time and not expect big results very quickly. But it can definitely be your specialization, and you can build a portfolio in that field. I would not go with sciences per se. I would go with one of the sciences, because if I look for a biology translator, chemistry translator, I want one that is specialized in that. Or life sciences, that kind of includes, I guess a lot of people specialize in life sciences as an overall topic, and that kind of includes many things, right? So it is possible in that way. I made a video about that, right? I don't know if you've seen it, specialized life science episode. Maybe that could be interesting for you to check out. All these panelists were in the same boat as you. They're passionate about sciences, but then had to find a way to get there. Sorry, my laptop just started to die. I need to charge it. So they were kind of in the same boat as you, and they made it. So that's exactly why I make these specialized episodes, because then people like you can actually see what are some paths to reach this goal. Then I also made one about medical translation that could also be interesting for you. So there are many different paths to get there, but the most easy and the most straightforward one is just have a degree in it. But of course, that's expensive and takes a long time. All right, it's 6:13. I have to go. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a quick half-an-hour stream. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. This will convert into a video. If you're watching this later on, please make sure to ask in the comments what you would like to see in the next Q&A video. Sorry, I had to kind of abruptly end this, but I have some appointments I need to go to. And I see you next Monday with the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.